They're a Florida favorite, a tournament staple, and the target of anglers all summer long.
That's right. This week, it's all about kingfish as we track the bite across the Sunshine State. Florida Insider Fishing Report, it's getting ready to start right now.
Welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
Hello and welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report. June is here, summer fishing is definitely heating up, and we've got a great show ahead. This week we're talking kingfish, checking in with some of our insiders from around the state, visiting with our friends from Daiquiri Deck Rick, plus it just so happens to be Rick's birthday, which of course is lasting all month long, naturally.
Of course, that's the way we celebrate things in the Murphy household.
Celebrating you forever. So let me ask you, what are you doing to celebrate?
Well, I'm actually leaving tomorrow, and I'm going down to Isla Mujeres to do a sportsman's adventures.
In Mexico?
In Mexico,
wow.
Yes.
What happens down in Mexico goes on sportsman adventures.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, of course it does.
We cannot go down that road. No.
Okay. Well, we're filming. Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
So exciting. All right, let's get the toothy smiles started from screaming drags offshore to tarpon and snappers inshore. The Casa Vieja Southeast region has been busy this week. Let's hear it, AB. Good to have you face to face this week.
And Bree and Jason as well. We are live from the 305. Thank you so much for having me. And oh man, I am juiced to be first up the bat talking about one of my all-time favorites, kingfish. Here in the Southeast, we are blessed to be able to catch kings every month of the year. And we ain't called the Insider Fishing Report for nothing, so listen up for some major kingfish secrets. It's all about line visibility and line diameter. This week has been no different. There's been some nice ones at 90 to 150 feet of water. Remember, kings grow very slowly, and therefore they see a lot of fishing line. Fish the lightest line and leader possible. I'm talking about 20-pound mono or lighter, all the way to the terminal end, where you want 18 inches of number 4 stainless wire leader. Hook size needs to match the bait size as always. If they don't bite that rig, get sneakier. Cut off the wire, then fish a long shank eagle claw hook tied straight to your 20-pound mono. Fish live pilchards and chum with them as well. Fish live ballyhoo in the ballyhoo around, and you can also fish the same rig, but with a 1 or 2 ounce bullet head jig, white bucktail jig I'm talking about, with a dead ballyhoo, and you can do very well with dead ballyhoo. If you're worried about live bait, dead ballyhoo crushes the kings in the Southeast region with those jig combos. They're excellent substitutes for live bait. Now pictured here is Adam, Austin, and Marjorie Rice and myself with a beautiful catch of kingfish. My little rascally son Ryder even showed up to the dock and snuck in for a photo right in the middle there.
Yeah, boy.
Love it. Look at that.
Tell us about the mahis, Cap.
Mahis are biting in the same depth as the kings this week, so that keeps it convenient. I got a good report from my longtime buddy and well-respected guide, Captain Freddie David, aboard the frickin' Prague out of Hollywood, Florida. He says mahis are biting just outside the reef on live baits, drifted under kites and flatlines. You want a 15-foot, 40-pound fluorocarbon leader? Drift with live bait in 90 to 250 feet for them, or you can troll right now in that same depth with ballyhoos and feathers. There's a lot of grass around, so keep in mind, sometimes you even got to bury that hook in a ballyhoo to keep away from that grass. Pictured here is supermate Victor Zulim and angler Peter Scalamandre with a pretty dolphin they caught in 140 feet of water off of Fort Lauderdale, suspending a live herring under a kite.
All right, let's go inshore.
Inshore, we got fun-sized tarpon. They bit great this week at the inlets and the channels. They're moving north the last couple days. Me and Rick were just talking about this, so get in on it fast. The tarpon are perfect size for the jumps without the abuse. We've been catching them on 7-foot ugly stick inshore carbon rods with 2,500 size Penn spin fishers full of 15-pound Berkeley X9 braid. Fish a 3-foot, 30-pound fluorocarbon leader, bait up with a 4-inch white Berkeley swimming mullet on a 1/4 ounce eagle claw jig head in those inlets. Bounce them around the bridges and up on the rocks. Pictured here is world-class lady angler Roberta Orostegui with one of 2 tarpon she caught on 4-pound mono with me this week.
Nice.
The fish, that fish yielded an epic battle all around the rocks, up and down the jetties, Rick. And she says hi, by the way. I know they fished with you for years.
All right, what else you got?
When the sun goes down, we're beating the heat and fishing the dock lights for mangrove snappers. They've been staging up to spawn, and the mama's got to eat. So get you some Berkeley gulp shrimp in new penny, or small pilchards or live shrimp to go toss them up under the dock lights of the ICW and Biscayne Bay. The mangrove snappers are stacked in there good. You want to fish little Fenwick rods with Penn reels and fish 25-pound fluoro leaders and the smallest hooks you can get away with. You can even go down to 20-pound fluorocarbon on the mangroves to get a lot of bites. I like a 1-0 inline eagle claw circle. These snappers have seen it all, so keep her in stealth mode and you'll go crush them. In a photo here is my angler Al with his family with a pile of Biscayne Bay snapper nuggets and some big smiles. We caught those right before the sun came up, so get them in the dark.
Dude, you're not in the dark anymore. You're live and in color. We appreciate you going up that road. We'll talk to you soon. It's time for the hot spot from the Casa Vieja Southeast region. He says, in short, bridges and dock lights at night. They have been producing acrobatic small tarpon, snook, and mangrove snappas, fish 30-pound fluorocarbon leaders for most of the bites, and then bait up with the Berkeley gulp shrimp and new penny. If you want to go offshore, 90 to 150 feet of water right outside the edge of the reef, it has been showing off some nice kingfish and mutton snappers, anchor or drift, and fish live pilchards, fish 20-pound flat lines on the surface for those smoking kingfish.
We are 4 out of 9 for all the captains that have come to the light side.
Yes.
Soon we will have all of them, all of their pretty faces. All right, well, Spanish sardines have been plentiful this year in the Alto Equipment East region, and the kingfish aren't far behind. Captain Mike Holliday says to look for them on the offshore reefs where the bait is stacked. And speaking of brights, there's your bright smiley face. Hi, Mike.
Hey, guys. We've got kingfish spread throughout the entire region right now. There's really good concentrations off the Juno Pier, the Loran Ledge, and the 6 Mile Reef. And there's also some big fish chasing the bait schools near the beach off Hope Sound and around the Vero Cove. You'll find kings working those bait schools and also around Sandpile and Stewart and the offshore bars south of Fort Pierce. Early and late in the day, they seem to pile in on those bait schools. This has been a great year for Spanish sardines. That's pretty much the preferred kingfish bait. You can slow troll it on a number 4 wire stinger rig, or even like an R&R titanium wire rig, or drift them live or dead on that triple hook monofilament rig that you use in Palm Beach a lot. You can also troll rig ballyhoo or ribbon fish, or even a big lip plug will work well on them. Right now, the average kingfish is 12 to 20 pounds, but they're seeing them up to about 40 pounds. And I got a photo from Captain Butch Constable out of Jupiter this week. He sent me this nice shot of a kingfish I got in 75 feet of water, along with a mutton snapper that was feeding underneath the king schools. So, speaking of mutton snappers, coming off this full moon, the mutton snapper bite is still strong in 65 to 90 feet of water from Lake Worth to Jensen Beach. There's been some crowds around the high bar. There's also been a bunch of crowds around the Loran Ledge. It's been consistent in those 2 spots, but don't overlook some of the smaller, less fished areas like the reef in 80 to 90 feet of water off the Juno Pier, or the Ernest Lyons Reef off Stewart. You can drift down the reefs with jigging spoons or a ballyhoo and jig combination, but really the best fishing is going to come for those guys that anchor up and chum with small pilchards or thread fins, and then drop down a sardine, a thread fin, or a grunt plug, or even a big chunk of bonita. Average mutton snapper right now is anywhere from 5 to 12 pounds, but there are some big ones out there. And I got a photo of a couple of them. Captain J.J. Klarman of Palm City got this nice pair of big muttons in 82 feet of water, and he was using grunt plugs.
All right, tell me about the tarpon. Has it changed since we talked last?
It's been a little bit rough outside, but June is the month when the tarpon are leaving the Keys, migrating up the East Coast. There's been a good amount of fish pushing on the back of this full moon. We're starting to see them really good in the inlets right now, and in big and little mud creeks up in the Indian River. And then Also, some small resident tarpons in the canals in places like Lighthouse Point, Five Fingers in the St. Lucie River, the C24 Canal, and the Harbor Branch Channel. For the fish that are out on the beach, everything from a live crab or a threadfin or a black and purple fly will get those fish to chew. And then on the inside and around the inlets, a live or dead mullet or a threadfin or a 4-inch Houdini colored sea shad, those are going to be your top baits. Average tarpons anywhere from 40 to 80 pounds. I got a cool photo of a fish that we hooked on the beach on a live crab. That's George Clare Jupiter with like a 60-pound fish that we got on Saturday.
Nice.
And then the other bite, the dawn bite for sea trout has been outstanding in the Indian River. Places like Little Mud Creek, the double bars off Middle Cove, Bear Point, Walton Road, Queens Cove, all those places are producing great action from about 6 a.m. to 8:30. And then there's also been some big fish showing up around the mullet schools on the west side of the Indian River, near the old fort in Fort Pierce, and on the shoreline north of Harbor Branch. There's a lot of pinfish around, so I would pass on fishing live shrimp because they'll eat you up. Throw soft plastics like a Bass Assassin pilchard colored shad, or go to small topwater plugs or prop baits. If you're looking for a big fish, live pilchards, pinfish, or sand perch, under a saltwater assassin quick cord will get that bite. Average sea trout 1 to 4 pounds. And Jason Arman, he does a lot of wading in the Indian River. He sent me this nice shot of a trout they got on a topwater plug off Walton Road.
Wow. Well, it's been raining quite a bit every afternoon. Has it affected the bass fishing, Mike?
It really has. It cools things down and makes that afternoon bite a little bit better. But, if you have the sunny, windy conditions, you want to be out there early. And Headwaters Lake in Fillsmere continues to produce some of the best bass fishing in the country right now. I was talking to Captain Nathan Shellen of OkeechobeeBassFishing.com. He says he's seen 25 to 50 fish mornings pretty regularly now. He's fishing weightless soft plastics on top of the hydrilla mats or along the shorelines of the canals. He's throwing like a tap out or KO Assassin in either black and blue or June bug or green pumpkin, the rig 'em Senko style, or I'll throw an RSB worm rig reedless. He said if it's super hot and still and really bright, add a 1/16 ounce weight, let the bait fall through those small holes in the grass, and the fish will chew on them. There's also been a scattered school bass bite on the windy mornings and a topwater bite on the edges of the grass right at first light. In the middle of the day, look for the fish on the south end around the cattails or around the submerged structure or where the canals intersect. The average headwater bass right now is 1 to 4 pounds. And again, 25 to 50 fish every morning. That's pretty impressive.
Good to see you, Mike. Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the TH Marine hotspots from the East region. Mike says inshore, triple tail on the channel markers of the Indian River, live shrimp or small pilchards on a jig head or rattling cork. And then offshore, mangrove snapper in 65 to 75 feet of water off of Fort Pierce, sardines, seaguar minnows, and pilchards on a 4-row circle hook will get it done for those mangrove snappers.
All right, we'll come fish the second annual Lagoon Again tournament on Mosquito Lagoon, hosted by Bahio Sunglasses. This one-day catch and release event benefits the Marine Discovery Center in New Smyrna Beach, helping support lagoon restoration and youth education programs. Plus, word is the grand prize this year might even be a car. You didn't hear it from me. All right, coming up, our guest of the week, Captain Jason Robinson, joins us at the CCA workbench with this week's rigs and techniques to help you make the most of your time on the water. Rick, looking pretty good over there.
Man, look at my man. And you know what? He is certainly a kingfish expert from the north part of the southeast region, Fort Lauderdale.
Yes, sir.
Can't wait to hear some of these cool tricks. Don't go anywhere, right, man?
Looking forward to it. Smoker Kings.
I can't wait to hear it, and then we'll head to the StarTron Central West region where Captain Jeff Page has the latest fishing action from the Florida's Gulf Coast. Stay with us.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Fenwick. Feel everything. ACR. Less search, more rescue. Penn. Let the battle begin. Casa del Golfo. Catch trophy fish and ride waves in our beachfront paradise. Berkeley Pro Spec Chrome. And Daiquiri Deck. food, drinks, friends.
Well, we're here at the CCA workbench and it's time for the rigs and technique. And guess what? I brought my main man from Fort Lauderdale, Captain Jason Robinson, in. You know, Jason, kingfish is something that you really, really enjoy. Certainly it's one of Florida's most famous game fish. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. Let's talk a little bit about where we would typically find a kingfish.
So whether you're on the Atlantic coast, the Gulf side, I mean, you can find kings on the beach, wrecks, reef breaks, artificial reefs. We got artificial reefs all around the state on both sides. I mean, definitely the beach is a place they're not afraid. We all know. You've seen some really big kings in there on the beach chasing bait. You know,
I believe that beach a lot of time is a barrier that, you know, the fish can't go too much shallower. I'm talking about the bait, and that's one of the things that the kings certainly key in on. So let's talk a little bit about the types of baits that they like, and then we'll get into the stinger rigs.
Okay, so I mean, all over the coast you have blue runners, goggle eyes, threadfin herring, pilchards. I mean, down here in South Florida, a lot of speedo fishing. I mean, the baits are all over the place. There's guys using, you know, giant bluefish to catch these kingfish now these days. So, I mean,
ribbon fish.
Ribbon fish, when you talk about dead baits, you know, stuff like that. So, ballyhoos, you know, can't be afraid of, you know, a ballyhoo. That's a great substitution if you don't have bait. A frozen ballyhoo on a triple hook rig is deadly, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, there's nothing wrong with that.
So, let's start off talking about the rigs and how important it is to match the rig with the size bait that you're gonna have. So I cut out a piece of paper. I'm just gonna say that this could be a small ribbon fish, could be an extra large blue runner. But how would you like to hook that if we were gonna go a triple hook rig like this said one here?
So like a triple hook rig, this is like a ribbon fish rig. You'd come up from the, you know, the bottom through the top. And, you know, depending on the length, you know, these ribbon fish can sometimes be out to here. So like on a bait like this, you would only need 2 trebles. You don't need all 3 of these trebles. You could clip this 3rd treble right on off, you know, but you definitely want your, you know, rigs to match the size of bait that you're using, you know.
And in a ribbon fish, we're gonna hook it in the belly or in the back?
No, you're gonna hook it in the back in a ribbon fish. Like a threadfin herring or something of that nature, we'd hook down in the belly here, you know what I mean, with like a smaller rig like this, you know, like you got that little guy right there.
This would be the thread fin?
Yeah, you want to put that first hook in his nose there.
Okay, we're going to do that.
And then you know, you could hook him right there in the belly, down here on a threadfin herring. In the southeast region, we'll use this same kind of rig, kite fishing, slow trolling. I mean, you can, you know, and the same thing like we talk about, you don't want this to be stretched too tight where your bait's not, you know, you lose the action of your bait, you know.
Let's real quickly, I want to ask you, I see that we have a swivel there. And you tie everything on with a haywire twist, right?
Yeah, with standard wire, I'm tying a haywire twist, and you're tying a regular knot with titanium, or you're crimping the titanium. Those are your options there.
Now I see that we've got planers and we've got, what about this big single hook rig here, bud?
So this single hook rig, we use this on, you know, I got an artificial strip here just to kind of give you an idea, you know, of what we're using when we're pulling, you know, behind a planer board. So this single long shank hook, this is 60-pound fluorocarbon, you know, anywhere from 60 to 100-pound fluorocarbon, and this long shank hook, you know, replaces the wire. So this length right here keeps you from getting bit off. Obviously, sometimes a big king or a big wahoo will eat up this and, you know, get you, but this gives you a little more stealthiness when you're pulling that planer or, you know, slow trolling, or if you're live baiting, sometimes we'll use a long shank hook, but that's what that particular hook's used for.
So we're using the monofilament to get the bite because of the spookiness of the fish.
Absolutely.
Dead bait trolling, how fast do we want to troll a live bait versus a dead bait?
So a dead bait, I mean, you could be anywhere. I've slowed all the way down to 4 or 5 miles an hour when I'm pulling the planers or something like that. And again, you're pulling, you know, a dead bait that you want to have that action. Not planer fishing, downrigger fishing, you know, we still have a little bit of speed. Usually a lot of times, you know, a twin motor boat or a single motor boat, we're just in gear to kind of give that ribbon fish that action. But then when we start talking about a live bait, you want to bump in and out of gear. You don't want to just be in gear and dragging that bait along. You know, you kind of want the bait to be able to do its thing and keep that bait stretched out behind the boat. versus, just in gear.
Like I know when we were up in Jacksonville, you could just barely bump it in because the pogies are so fragile. Versus a blue runner, pretty tough.
Absolutely. Blue runner or goggle eye, definitely a lot, hardier.
Right, here's the $1 million question. What's your favorite bait for catching a big kingfish?
My favorite bait for catching a big kingfish, and it works up and down the East Coast, is a big blue runner.
Big blue runner.
Big blue runner, you can't go wrong with a big blue runner.
Which is great because they can be found on any coast as well. You did a wonderful job. I want to make sure you come back anytime. You're welcome here, right, Bree?
Yes, please do. I love it. I learned a lot about kingfish today. All right, come out and meet Captain Rick Murphy and Jeff Page for an awesome Berkeley Tackle Talk at CB Outfitters in Siesta Key on Thursday, June 11th from 5:30 to 8 p.m. There will be giveaways, fishing tips, shopping specials, and more, plus an after party at Daiquiri Deck from 8 to 9 p.m. So you don't want to miss that, because when this guy has some daiquiris, he's going to give away some tackle.
Who knows
Right.
what I may give away?
Who knows? He's going to do some dance moves. He's going to tell some stories he probably shouldn't tell, right? Who
We're
knows?
gonna be. It is
Show
my
up.
birthday month, so we could be going crazy.
I can't wait. Show up and find out. All right, few fish can turn a calm day into chaos faster than a kingfish. 1 second, everything is quiet, and the next, a reel is emptying at full speed in the Startron Central West region, and Jeffrey Page knows all about that. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, how's everything going? I'm looking forward to the Daiquiri Deck CB's event next week with my buddy Captain Rick Murphy, and I agree with my man that Rick's got over there at the workbench. Big blue runner equals a big old kingfish, and that's the same over in the Startron Central West region. When those guys are going for those tournament-winning fish, they want a live well full of blue runners. But cool thing about over here is we have a migratory season, and then we have home fish that just stay throughout the summer. The spring, late February, early March, if the cold fronts aren't too stacked up, look for the migratory fish to start pushing up the beach, and a lot of times they'll be in tight. You don't have to go out there 20, 30 miles. A lot of times they'll be on the artificial reefs, or if you know a little place where there's some limestone. One of my favorite places is right off Point of Rocks, which is on Siesta Key, and it ain't even a mile out, and it's just a few pieces of limestone rock, holds good bait, and the kings get there every year when that bait shows up. Sometimes you'll pull up to it, and the kingfish will just be skyrocketing, eating baits that are holding on the structure. Now, the guys that really get out there every day and chase them, they'll get out 7 to 11 miles sometimes, and they like to have a variety of baits. Big blue runners, thread fins, pilchards, and then I've even those guys that use corked pinfish when the fish are fired up all around the boat, and it works really effective. The one suggestion I have, small piece of wire. If you're just, if you're not in a tournament, you don't need all that stinger rig and all that extra wire, but I always suggest at least, 4 to 6 inches of wire from your, whatever it is, your lure or your hook to your mainline leader. It's a good idea. Another thing you always want to do is keep an eye on your bottom machine and your side scan when you're around structure, because a lot of times you'll mark those bait schools, and sometimes you'll even mark the kingfish. Trolling lips plugs that'll dive anywhere from 12 to 25 feet will work real well, and then spoons with or without planers, depending on how far behind the boat you've got it, how deep of water you're trying to accomplish this in. Like I said, in the summer they'll show up sometimes and stay throughout the summer, and then when it's real rough in the Gulf, a lot of the guys will go to the ship channel that leads up into the Skyway Bridge and on up into Tampa Bay, and actually there's been tournaments won with 45, 50-pound fish caught right by the Skyway Bridge. So we have lots of kingfish, and my photo tonight is of 2 brothers that fish kingfish tournament. That's Nick and Jack Vassaleros with 2 studs.
Nice. All right. Tell me what about the red snappers, please.
Red snapper. Everybody's really excited, from charter captains to recreational anglers are having no trouble getting their limit. 110 to 140 feet of water has been a pretty good number. They're using knocker rig, 60-pound leader, 5.0 to 7.0 trocore circle hook, and they're doing better with dead bait than they are with the live bait. but live pinfish are good. Cut mullet, cut threadfin on that knocker rig. And I've got a really cool picture of Captain C.J. Wickersham that was out full moon snapper fishing for mangs, and he got that nice red at night.
Nice. All right. Let's go inshore.
Tarpon remains number one. I know he's your favorite, man. And this time of year, look for the fish, provided we have the east winds. Look for them laid up tight to the beach to where you could actually catch some of these fish from land once you know where they're going to be laid up. And they can be in groups of 20 up to 100. Free line crab is probably the best bet early in the morning because that crab's quiet when it lands, sinks slowly, no weight, no cork, just let him do his thing. And then as the day gets going on, you're going to want some thread fins. Good news is you can bring a sabiki rod and catch those right out there on the beach where the tarpon are. I suggest using at least 60-pound fluoro. Want to make sure you land the fish 80 to 100. I know guys that even use 100. Same thing, 7 or 8-0 Trocor circle hook. Really good. I gave some to a really good captain last year, and he went out and bought 5 packs of them, those Trocors. He's had such good luck with them. Late afternoon outgoing tide, same game, except you drift in the past with the free line crabs. You're going to get them. We just came off the moon, so that's going to crank back up next week. The best passes, Egmont and Boca. And my picture of tarpon tonight, that's Captain David Lee White with a happy client. They got in the water with that sun setting. It's a pretty good picture. And my last. All right, redfish. There's still schools of redfish around. High tide fish under the mangroves, around the oyster bars. 5 pinfish under a cork, or a Berkeley turbo gulp shrimp on a 1/4-ounce jig head. And my redfish photo tonight, that's Brian and Kathy with a couple nice reds they got with Nate Calistello.
All right, thank you so much, Captain Page. We're gonna go take a look at the daiquiri deck hotspots from the Central West region. He says, tarpon, early morning, the groups of fish, they're laid up on the beach or in the afternoon outgoing tide in Egmont Pass with live free line pass crabs, and then offshore, red snapper opening season. It has been really good again this past week with lots of quality fish being caught in 110 to 140 feet of water. Use the live pinfish or cut sardines on a knocker rig with a 60-pound fluoro leader.
Hey kids and parents, this summer every saltwater fish counts in the CCA Florida Star Youth Competition, including Kingfish. For just $20 to enter, youth anglers ages 6 to 17 can compete for a share of more than $100,000 in scholarships, prizes, and fishing gear. Teen anglers can even win a Carolina skiff or custom Ginu rigged with a Yamaha outboard, while the TH Marine Most Fish Division awards a native watercraft kayak to the angler who enters the most fish. Plus, the Trash Division rewards kids for helping keep our waterways clean with community service hours and great prizes. Get registered, take your photos with the 2026 Star Identifier, and enter through the iAngler app. Visit ccaflstar.com to learn more. It's a great opportunity for our kids out there.
It sure is.
Absolutely.
I wish they would have had all these bass clubs and all this cool stuff when I was going to school.
That was a long time ago. They didn't even exist back then. Up next, we head to the Panhandle region for a look at kingfish and dolphin action. Then Mike Anderson has the latest from the Panhandle region, where red snapper season is off to a strong start. And if you've got a young angler who loves fishing, this is their time to shine. Our annual kids show is coming up June 10th, and we'd love to have you in our live studio audience. Make sure you scan the QR code for more info and to get registered. We'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Power Pole, Total Boat Control, Berkeley, Your Fish, Our Science, Bahio, Blue Light Blocking, Radically Clear Polarized Fishing Sunglasses, Penn, Let the Battle Begin, and Kubota, your local dealer of choice.
Well, the best kingfish anglers know success often comes down to timing, precision, and paying attention to the details. So let's see what's happening in the Casa del Golfo Northwest region with Captain Mike Anderson. What's going on, Mike?
Well, hey guys, you know, the water temps have climbed here, especially in the southern part of the region, and that's really kind of shut that kingfish bite down for us almost completely. You know, that water temp gets up 85, 86. It gets a little tough, but there's still been some fish in the northern parts of the region. We got Captain Clay Scheidler up there with Hingham High Sport Fishing reporting a few fish in 80 to 100 foot of water. He's fishing some of the wrecks off of Citrus County there. Overall, getting a lot of complaints. You know, I tried to dig in a little bit with the kingfish not being so great right here in front of me. I tried to dig in a little bit. A lot of guys complaining that the kingfish numbers were off just a little bit this year, but you know, every year's a little different. So I like to slow troll. If I'm trying to catch those big ones, I slow troll with the tide. I think that's your best bet to catch a big smoker kingfish. I think it's really important you use a wire leader. You have a really light drag. I like to make sure I've got stinger rigs involved. That initial strike is really violent, and it's followed by that long run. So, you know, getting that gear set up correctly, if you're really looking to get that big kingfish in the boat, I think that's really, really paramount. Most of the tournament guys around here, and there's some great tournament kingfishermen here in this region, they like to use mono, a 30-pound mono, not braided line. You know, you need that stretch, you need that forgiveness for that brutal strike, and if you do that, that's gonna up your landing rate a whole bunch there. So, also having a really good start to the red snapper season here. It's wide open here in the region, and you can feel it every morning at the marina. Lots of big boats, you know, headed out to take advantage of probably our most popular offshore species here on this coast, and for good reason. Great table fare. Certainly it's one of my favorites. The bite's been really good from 120 feet to as deep as 400. Bigger fish coming the deeper you go, which is kind of normal for the Gulf Coast over here. Fish ledges, rock piles, wrecks, hard bottom, anywhere you find the bait. If you're going to find the bait, you're going to find those red snapper concentrations pretty good. So you're looking for those big Christmas tree looking shows on your machine. They're super aggressive, so you can use big baits, heavy tackle. Live pinfish work great, as does cut bait. Most of the guys I talk to, bonita strips seem to be really popular. They're really hardy. They stay on the hook well as you're working those baits down through those big shows on your machine. You know, you can, that stuff stays on there. You got a lot better hookup rate. Anything smelly, slimy, cut bait wise seems to work. Get bit pretty quick. As I said, they're super aggressive. Once you find them, catching them usually isn't all that difficult. Again, get out there deep if you're looking to get those really big red snapper. And here's a great picture where this lady caught this fish fishing with my good friends out of Hubbard's Marina there at John's Pass on Big Friendly Fisherman. So that red snapper bite's been really, really good here first couple weeks of open season.
All right, tell me about the inshore, Mike.
You know what? The trout bite's been good. I feel really blessed that the bite's been this good. It's been impressive, especially up in Citrus County. Captain Dallas King reporting steady action in 3 to 4 foot of water using popping corks, live shrimp. He's also using some 1/8 ounce jig with some soft plastic. He's fishing them quick, covering a lot of water, which that's getting it done as well. Lots of fish in the 15 to 20 inch range, with occasional fish pushing that 24 inch mark still. Really solid for this time of year. In the southern part of the region, we've noticed the bigger fish for me kind of slowed down a little bit, and we're still catching some good fish, but a lot fewer of those 25, 26 inch fish we were seeing the last 2 months or so. Still steady action on the 15 to 20 inch fish. We're starting to see some of those small fry bait schools around, which seems a little early for me, but that's what we saw this week. And I had all my guys putting baits in those bait schools, and every time we did it, we got bit. It was really nice to see. Live pilchards, soft plastics, right in the bait pod, seem to catch plenty of fish. Always fish those bait concentrations, inshore or offshore, seem to always be holding fish. And we got a nice picture here, a 23-inch trout this young man caught on a popping cork with a live shrimp. Captain Dallas King out of Crystal River with Pirate Flag Charters and Tours.
All right, tell me about the redfish. Yes, he does.
Redfish, that bite's really steady. The whole region has really, really been good, but the Nature Coast this week, the reports coming in from Chassahowitzka to Homosassa, really being on fire, fishing the creek mouths, the hard bottom points, live pinfish or live shrimp. Artificials, if that's your thing, gold spoons were the bait of choice, which I really like in the northern part of this region. I think gold spoons cover a lot of water. It's a great bait for catching redfish up there. So if you find moving water, you find rocks and mullet, you're in business right now in the northern part of the region. It's been really good. To the south, we seem to lose our big schools, which is kind of normal. We started to get some heavy rain, and that rain usually, our big schools leave, but we still had plenty of fish around. We caught a lot of fish on live pilchards. That was working well. We had some full moon tides, which once those tides get really high, a lot of those fish were pushing into the bushes, so we were having to use some cut pinfish and stuff in the bushes, but that was working pretty good too. Again, we don't seem to have the crazy numbers of redfish in the southern part of the region that we have, but that bite was still really, really solid this week. So finding those shorelines with the big mullet, and I call them meat chicken mullet. I like the really big mullet. When they come out of the water, you're like, wow, that's a big mullet. If you find those mullet, work those shorelines. That was the best luck for me all week long.
All right, good tips there. Thank you so much from the Casa del Golfo Northwest region. It's time to take a look at the Discover Crystal River hotspots. He says inshore, tarpon, great numbers of fish from Egmont Key to Homosassa, 8 to 15 feet of water along the beaches. Live crabs, pinfish, threadfin herring, all working well, free lined under a cork. And then offshore, mangrove snappas. The bite has been on fire with big mangoes beyond 100 feet of water, but solid in as little as 70. Fish rock piles, ledges, wrecks with live pinfish, pilchards, or even maybe a shrimp.
Well, our featured species this week has a way of keeping anglers thinking. From bait selection to presentation, the little details often make a big difference when chasing kingfish in the Panhandle region. Thanks for manning the workbench with us last week, Pat. It was wonderful.
Yeah, Bree, it was nice being down there. And I'll tell you what, the king mackerel fish is definitely a popular activity up here. It's definitely a seasonal fish, and every season is different. This year we've had some good kings showing up early. In May, there was good king mackerels around, but lately they seem to be few and far between. Typically, they're consistent by May with some good action late summer into October and November. And then that late summer, August through September time period, Pensacola Bay gets a good push of big kingfish, well up into their bay up by the 3 Mile Bridge as they feasted on those menhaden schools. Most of our king fishing is going to be done with live baits, either cigar minnows and herrings being the bait of choice. And we're going to fish them around natural and man-made structure out to about a couple 100 feet. But also, just outside the inlets and the buoy lines into our inlets are great places to find king mackerels during the summertime. You want to float troll your baits, use a stinger rig. Most crews are going to pull some baits on top, a couple of them down deep behind a downrigger or a trolling lead. Our kings are typically schoolies, 8 to 12 pounds, but we do get those bigger 40-plus pound fish in the fall. Staying offshore, there's been some nice catches of dolphins. They continue to hit the deck. Offshore waters have plenty of that sargassum grass I've been talking about. It's so plentiful. Some places it's hard to fish, but when you find places where it's lined up or formed up into big rafts, it can be really good. And right now we've got a pretty good wind blowing, so it's kind of mixing the plate out there. So we'll see how it is once it calms down. But you want to troll naked ballyhoos from ballyhoo islander combinations and small plugs. And it pays to have some spinning rods rigged and ready with either live baits or jigs. And then our fad networks, both the deeper fads and the shallower fads, are all producing good dolphin fishing right now with a few wahoos in the mix. And there's a photo there from Captain Matt Champion of Championship Charters in Destin. That's one of the bigger mahis he caught from a mess of dolphin this past week on a trip. So there has been some good graded mahis around lately.
Yes, sir. All right, let's go inshore.
Yeah, that's perfect. Rick, moving inshore, man, the redfish are responding to all this rain and high water we've been having. Santa Rosa Sound has been really good with the high water. The docks on the north side between the zoo and Tiger Point have been particularly good. Fishing up around the pilings and then the potholes near the docks. So those docks with bigger boats on a lift, typically we're going to have a hole near their deeper pockets, so that's a good spot to look. Live bait like a shrimp or a small minnow under a cork is the way to go. But Gulf dragon tails or shrimp rigged on an 1/8 ounce jig head or Texas style with a worm hook does really well. Gold penny colors are molting shrimp. The reds are slot fish to slightly over slot, and there's a photo of courtesy Captain Neil Modlin over in Navarre, show and tell charters. His young guy showing off a nice redfish from this past week.
Yes, sir.
Hey, finally, inshore, the triple tails are starting to show up in good numbers over in Apalachicola Bay system. Finding them on the buoys, the markers, and the float. Really anything's floating, especially near west and Indian passes. Although it's primarily a sight fishery, sometimes the triple tail is hanging on the float line or on the island down deep. So it pays to prospect on promising-looking structure, even if you don't see a fish. A live shrimp or a small minnow used below a popping cork is typically the way to go, but a Gulf shrimp under that cork will work just as well. And then the tide lines, we've had a lot of that sargassum grass offshore. This stuff is pushing up into the bay, so pay attention to sargassum that you see floating around as well. And the triple bill can run up to and well over 10 pounds, and that's a real fun fishery.
All right, Pat, thank you again for coming last week. We appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Bolivian adventures hotspots from the Panhandle region. Pat says that inshore, the morning trout bite has been good on the flats in Perdido Bay, targeting patchy bottom in 3 to 5 feet of water with midwater stick baits and paddle tail soft plastics. Offshore, those Oskaloosa Fad are producing some nice mahis and wahoo, troll ballyhoos, sea witch combinations, or stop the boat and cast the jig.
All right, y'all, big blue water, screaming drags, and blue marlin are your kind of summer. This one's for you. The 45th annual Key West Marlin Tournament takes place July 22nd through the 25th during Hemingway Days in Key West, Florida. Last year's event paid out over $260,000 across the marlin and funfish divisions. Fish the famous walleye day, then enjoy all of the food, the fun, and island energy Key West is known for at night. Spots are limited, so make sure you register now at keywestmarlin.com. But up next, we visit with our friends from Daiquiri Deck and take a look at some new Taco Marine new products at the CCA workbench. It's looking yummy over there, boys.
Bree, I can tell you, we are already starting to celebrate Ricky Dickey's birthday, but you know what, guys? You're gonna have to see what we're talking about when we come right back.
Absolutely, gotta work in that birthday. Then Captain Ridge Murphy checks in from the Black Oak LED Keys region, and we'll be right back with him.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Skeeter Performance Fishing Boats. Eat, sleep, fish. Alta Equipment Company, where uptime matters. Ameritrail. Load, launch, relax. Discover Crystal River, Florida. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin. Best lures, period. And Black Oak LED. Never be left in the dark.
Well, as you can see, we're here at the CCA workbench. We're gonna have some Taco Marine new products here in a minute, but before we get started, I wanna talk to my good buddies from Daiquiri Deck. You know, Troy, Matt. Troy, you gotta tell me when you got started. This is just such a cool place.
So back in 1993, I had just graduated from college, had come home, and I was working for Sarasota County as a lifeguard full-time on the beaches. Me and a couple of buddies decided to go down to Key West for a weekend to celebrate.
Right.
And while we were down there, we were enjoying these frozen beverages on Duval Street. And I kept thinking, wouldn't this be such a great idea if we had someplace like this on Siesta Key? So that's where it came from. And that was 32 years ago, 33 years ago, 34 years ago.
Wow.
As time goes. So since then, we have actually grown our concept from one location on Siesta Key to 5 locations, 4 in Sarasota County, and then 1 located up in Manatee County on Bradenton Beach.
So Matt, you got to tell me how you're involved. Certainly, this is a real well-oiled machine.
Yeah, we're really proud of our operations. We're really proud of our 5 legacy stores that are in place. We've also developed a non-traditional aspect of our business where we're a proud partner of the Tampa Bay Rays. We are in Tropicana Field selling frozen drinks. We also recently did a PGA tournament, the Valspar Open. We served daiquiris in the Snake Pit. Great experiences, and it all leads to very exciting prospects we have going now, and that is rolling out our franchise program. We have franchise territories available both domestically and internationally, actually, and we are in the process of selling those. So the future's bright. We, with our menu and the things that we're probably going to discuss here today, you'll see why.
Yeah. So certainly the experience about going to a Daiquiri Deck is really one of the cool parts about the model. So why don't we talk a little?
Yeah, I mean, your show is oriented around the outdoors and the experience of enjoying fishing, going to the beach, just, the great outdoors. And what we worked on was trying to bring that experience of the outdoors into a facility where you could have great food, great drinks with our frozen beverages, but that whole experience can be one big thing.
So the frozen drinks just seem to taste different than any daiquiris I ever had. Why is that?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the juice before it's frozen. We use the best ingredients we get our hands on. We use all natural ingredients, natural fruit bases. We also use sugarcane as opposed to high fructose corn syrup in the mixes. We spend a lot of time on R&D, analysis of mixes to make sure that they fit and work with our bulk frozen drink machines, which we have patented systems, filling systems, a long draw system, if you will, similar like a draft system, except it's daiquiris. This creates consistency, efficiency, and most importantly, profitability for franchisees.
So Troy, let's quickly talk a little bit about the food experience. Why don't you tell me a little bit about this?
You know, a big part of like what you're talking about, we also have a catch and cook program that we do. And that catch and cook program is bringing some of the fun that you had on your boat into our restaurants. At the same time, we looked at it, and if you want to have a balanced place, something that we can like serve families and serve everybody, you can't just have the frozen drinks and focus on the beverage side of the program. We also wanted to create basically a polished casual bar food experience. And so we've gone out and really tried to upgrade our stuff, like as an example, our Cuban sandwich here, our peel and eat shrimps. We also have this the poke bowl, and this can't be ceviche, but the tuna poke bowl is probably my favorite.
Certainly, mine and Bree's. I know that's what we order every time. Matt, where are we going to go to find out more information about any of the locations or potentially opening your own store?
Yeah, quickest way, daiquirideck.com, simply daiquirideckfranchising.com, but daiquirideck.com has all the information you're going to need. We have an executive team ready to go to answer any questions that a potential franchisee might have, and we can get them information real time.
All right, Bree. I think we should start
Right
saving
here.
our money
I'm
so
right
we
here.
can
Let's save our
open
money.
our own.
And happy
Thank
birthday.
you. Good job, guys.
Thanks,
you.
guys. It's been so hard staring at this poke bowl. All right, it's new product time, Rick.
Yes.
All right, I know you love Renew Promotions. They've been doing a lot of great stuff for us over the years, so let's go ahead and talk about them. So this is our boat tote bag. So Renew Promotions is a custom screen printing, embroidery. They do uniforms. They do promotional products. They literally take any one of your logos and put it on a promotional item. Banners, business cards, direct-to-fabric printing, sports team apparel, you name it, they can do it. They have 2 locations, Homestead, the Keys, 17 years experience. Their customer service is out of this world.
It really is.
I mean, you deal with them all the time.
They're a one-stop shop. We're going to be talking a lot about Renew over the next few weeks.
Absolutely.
And all the different things that they do for us at RM Media.
Yes,
right,
so
Bree.
next up we've got this Savage Gear needle jig and deep dropping jig. This one specifically is a 10 ounce. It's a 5, 6, 8, 12, and 16 ounce sizes. This is the pink glow color, but they've also got 5 other colors. It's ideal for, those toothy critters, kingfish, wahoo, you name it, tuna, AJ grouper, snapper, cobia. It casts easily. It has that flutter, pendulum fall action, built-in rattle, holographic, gorgeous super glow, wire through construction, and high quality assist action with this hook here. You go to savagegear.com to get that.
All right.
And then you, sir.
We're going to talk about the hydro-powered TH Marine bilge pump.
Yes,
and you
sir.
know what?
You know all about that?
I do. I certainly know about bilge pumps, Bree, but the flow rate here is 800 gallons to 1,100 gallons, depending on which model. What I love about the TH Marine new product stuff that's coming out is how simplistic it is, but it doesn't break. You know, salt water and metal is a giant problem. And what is happening now is they're designing bilge pumps, they're designing live well pumps that are all plastic, but still you have great ways to make
but the plastic
clean
is easily
the bottom.
Replaceable.
Exactly. If something cracks, and it's not so terribly expensive. That's what I love about it. Certainly it has a float system, so the bilge pump, if you get too much water during a rainstorm, it's going to pump it out and hook it directly to the positive and the negative cable.
That's what it's supposed to do, right?
That's exactly
right.
right.
Well, go to thsupplies.com, thmarinesupplies.com to get that. But we got to move on from the Atlantic to the Gulf side. Few fish cover water and chase bait like a kingfish, and when they show up, everything around them seems to know it. Here's Captain Ridge Murphy in the Black Oak LAD's Keys region. Your dad's already eating and celebrating his birthday, Ridge. Go for it.
There, you gotta have his cake and eat it too. Kingfish are drag screaming torpedo style fish that make big runs and skyrocket on their prey. They can be caught on both sides of the highway here in the Keys, and they make awesome smoked fish dip too. If you're want to go out there and target the kingfish, you're going to want to use wire stinger rigs, number 4 and number 8 wire on a swivel, twisted with 2 treble hooks. You can use this rig on both spinning rods or conventional tackle. And you're going to want to bump troll, flat lines, or slow troll with planers on the edge for these fish. Or you could even fish them with big spreads on the kites using baits like cigar minnows, sardines, blue runners, or goggle eyes. Kingfish can be targeted as shallow as 40 feet of water in the sand, spraying ballyhoos all the way out to 200 feet of water, staging up on some of the deeper wrecks. The one thing you want to keep in mind when you're targeting kingfish is having the right tackle and having the right gap. A small hook gap is ideal, and it'll make your kingfish shots count a lot better if you have a nice small hook on that gap. I have a photo sent in by Chris Trossett of a 51-pounder that his customer caught on fly.
Nice. Caught a lot of big ones myself. Go ahead. What else you got, bub?
You know, after speaking with Chris Trossett, he mentioned that the mutton snappers are pretty solid with this full moon that we just had. The spawn is in full effect. Muttons are staging on the edges anywhere from 60 to 90 feet of water in some of the deeper wrecks. You can anchor up or chum or drift baits on the bottom with a knocker rig with 2 to 6 ounces of lead. And for rod setups, we've been using our Penn Fathom 40s with 65-pound braided line on our Carnage 3 rods. And for leader material, the heaviest you can get it without losing the bites, I would say 40 to 60 pound is recommended. You can use live tilchards or goggle eyes, cigar minnows, or ballyhoo plugs. And I have a photo of my buddy Chad Munns with a bunch of mutton snappers that we just caught this past week.
Yeah, we did. We caught the poo out of them things, didn't we, bub?
Ain't mutton to it.
Man.
All right, let's go inshore.
For inshore this week, we're going to call it nearshore. The permits while tarpon fishing on the ocean has been pretty solid, but they're also staging up on the nearshore wrecks, more so in the lower Keys, Marathon area, but we're seeing quite a few fish all over the place. Make sure to have crabs about a $half size, and you can use small Eagle Claw light wire circle hooks with 30 to 40 pound leader on a 7-foot 6-inch HMG medium fast blank. Say that 3 times fast. And if the crabs are hard to come by, you can always use a pink or tan jig. Remember that they like to eat these jigs on the fall, so bump it really hard and give that jig lots of action and a big pause so it'll fall. I have a photo of my buddy Rob with a nice permit that he caught just recently too.
Nice. All right, let's go inshore one more time. What else you got this week?
I spoke to Captain Jake Turk, and he says that the bone fishing down in the Island Murata area has been pretty good. You're going to want to pull along the flats with the current. The bones will be feeding into the current. You're going to want to look for mudders, tailors, and wakers. Keep an eye out for the stingrays because just like the redfish, they'll be up on their backs. And you want to throw live shrimp rigged weedless on an Eagle Claw J hook with 20-pound leader or 1 or 2 small little split shots to help you throw it.
All right, thank you so much, Ridge. We are going to take a look at the Renew Promotions hotspots from the Florida Keys. My man Ridge says this week, inshore, tarpon in the ocean, stake out in a white sand hole anywhere from 3 to 12 feet of water and wait for the opportunity for them to swim by. If you want to go offshore, this mutton snapper spawn in the lower Keys, Key West, and all the way down to the fort, now is the time to go fish for those muttons. You saw
Apparently
it. Proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, proof is in the pudding. There's
11 over 15 pounds with a 22 and a 23 pounder.
Just
oh,
kidding.
you dived it down to me.
I dived it down
you
you.
saw that? She got me again.
I got him again after all these
years. I must
years.
be getting old.
Well, summer tournament season is heating up in the Florida Keys with plenty of opportunities to compete, win cash, and support great causes. Here's what's coming up. Treat Dad to a great day of fishing at the 40th Annual Father's Day Dolphin Derby in Marathon. Registration is June 19th with fishing all day on June 20th. Cash prizes go to the top 4 adults with rod and reel combos for the top 3 junior anglers. The annual VFW fishing tournament, June 19th through the 21st at Stock Island, awards over $50,000 in total cash and prizes, including $15,000 for the heaviest dolphin. Target species are dolphin, wahoo, tuna, grouper, and snapper, and all proceeds benefit disabled and needy veterans in the Florida Keys. Teams compete in the Islamorada Fishing Club Captain's Cup Dolphin Tournament, June 24th and 25th. The team with the heaviest combined weight of 3 mahi-mahi takes the grand prize up to $25,000 if 25 boats are registered. Anglers mix with University of Miami Hall of Famers, UM mascot Sebastian, and other celebrities for the UM Sports Hall of Fame Fan Fest and Celebrity Fishing Tournament that targets dolphinfish, tuna, kingfish, and wahoo. The action is based at Three Waters Resort and Marina in Islamorada. For more information on these Keys tournaments and so much more, go to visitfloridakeys.com. All right, Rick, up next, Jim Ross has the latest from the Central East region where offshore reefs are producing some quality fish. Then Tommy Derringer shares the latest on kingfish and mahi in the Northeast region. We'll be right back. And if your next fishing trip takes you, make sure you take us along. Visit our website, follow us on social media, and make sure you subscribe to the Captain Rick Murphy YouTube channel for the latest reports, tips, and fishing action from around Florida. Now we'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Startron. Start, run, and store with Startron. Berkeley, your fish, our science. CCA Florida, 40 years of protecting Florida's fisheries. The Florida Keys and Key West, come as you are. Murphy's Law Sport Fishing. Book your trip today at murphyslawsportfishing.com. And the IGFA, every fish, every water, every angler since 1939.
When baitfish start filling the reefs and nearshore waters, it doesn't take long for the predators to follow. This week, kingfish are taking center stage in the Central East region with Captain Jim Ross. What's going on, Jimmy?
Well, I'll tell you what, Bree, you're exactly right. And I actually was sitting on the jetty that Rick and I fished for snook just yesterday, and had king mackerel skyrocket not 20 feet from the boat. So they are definitely moving to the beaches right now.
Perfect timing.
Speaking of the best places to go fish for them, though, typically throughout my region, you want to look at the 70 to 90 foot reefs. That's where these fish generally hang out year round, barring any major weather event. So you want to slow troll with live baits. That's absolutely the best way to do it. Blue runners and pogies are the two top baits to troll with, but you can also get away with trolling some frozen ballyhoo or cigar minnows on some days, especially if the water's a little bit dirty. That really helps. But this week, Bethel Shoal, Horseshoe, Pelican Flats, the Lollipop, Chris Benson, and the Party Grounds have all had good fish on them. And most of our kings are running 10 to 15 pounds, but a few bigger ones are around, like the 53-pounder that Hunter Delaney landed this past weekend while fishing in the Blue Water Open down south part of the region. So there's some nice fish around right now. But like I said, the pogie pods are moving to the beach. There's a lot of bait inshore, and the kingfish are following them. So you don't have to go that far. You can check out the tide line at Sebastian or the buoy line at Canaveral and do very well. And then if you're up at Ponce, that tide line will work also. It's because those water temperatures are in the low 80-degree range. There was a picture there we just had of a nice king mackerel that's come to the dock here lately. And that's your average size king mackerel, 12, 13, 14 pound fish, good sized fish.
Tell me about the grouper.
Offshore, we've got some really good snapper action right now, but that's not what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the gag grouper that are hanging around those deep water reefs and wrecks. So you're going to have to weed through some snapper to get to them, but they are there. Right now, if you want some quality groceries like gags, scamps, or reds, those deeper areas are where you want to go. Drift an 18 to 24 ounce deep jig with a whole ballyhoo or a strip bait like a bonita or barracuda belly on it. That's a really good way to get them. Or live blue runners or live grunts or even cut grunts are working really well. You want to set up your drift on the upcurrent side of the structure that you happen to mark the fish on. And generally you're going to find that you get the bite on the back side of the structure because the fish are holding in the break from the current on that structure. A Pin Fathom 2 size 40 reel loaded with 65-pound test braid and an 80 to 120-pound test leader is usually required to pull these big fish out of the structure. But, the nice thing about that Pin Fathom 2 reel, that thing has 40 some odd pounds of drag pressure, so you can drag those grouper up off the bottom. And if you can't get them with that, you can double down on them with a 2-speed low and get them to come. And most of our gags are running 22 to 33 pounds at this time. Swinging inshore, redfish are starting to really heat up right now. The key to it is you got to give them what they want. And right now, pretty much all they want is cut bait. You want to pitch that up under mangroves and near creek mouths or underneath docks. That seems to be the best way to get these fish to strike. Saw a horning the other day, and Norm Channel actually landed 15 fish to 33 inches in the Cocoa Beach area of the Banana River, chunking under trees in the Thousand Island area. So, they found some decent fish running in those edges, and you can find them all up and down from Satellite all the way up into Mosquito Lagoon. Assassin 4 to 5 inch sea shad are also working really good. That's a great way to get them. Gulp jerk baits as well. Put those on a 1/4 or 1/2 ounce jig along the beach or in the deeper channels and deeper docks, and that's how you're going to get the job done there. Got a nice beach redfish here for you guys and gals, and these fish are going to be here pretty much all summer long. You can see they're really pale in color because they're trying to match that sand so they don't get sharked up. And then my last species is snook. The snook season is ended, but that doesn't mean you can't catch them, and right now is a really great time to do that. They're in the inlets and they're also on the flats. Live mullet cast up to the mangroves in the Indian or Banana rivers are going to get these fish's attention. And I typically use a Penn Battle 5000. I put 30-pound braid on that, and I put a 40-pound fluorocarbon leader on that, and that way I can get these fish out of the bushes. You want to finish that rig off with a 5/0 circle hook. And to handle just about any snook up to about 36 inches with that size rig. Now, if you find yourself down in the Sebastian area and you're looking at some of those 40 to 45 inch snook that are hanging down there, you're going to have to tackle up. Get yourself a 6,000 or a 6,500 size reel, 50-pound test leader and 50-pound test braid, and you can pull some of those bigger fish out of the mangroves. But this picture I've got here is of a typical snook that you're going to find in the Cocoa Beach through Satellite Beach all the way down to Sebastian and Wabasso and Vero area. Just nice upper slot size fish right now, and you can get those fish on the first size gear that I talked about.
All right, Jimmy, thank you so much. We appreciate your effort each and every week.
Yes, we do.
And we're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Central East region. Jimmy says inshore redfish, mangrove shore nines from Palm Bay to Vero, fish live mullet or croakers tight to the trees and the docks in 2 to 5 feet of water next to those docks. And then guess what? Offshore, gag groupers, 180 to 240 foot ledges, fish large baits like blue runners or grunts to fish up to 30 pounds.
Fish up to 30 pounds. You don't say, Richard.
I don't say.
You don't say.
I did say.
No, you don't.
So what are we doing?
What are we doing?
I don't know.
We're going to the next region. Who's up next? Tommy Derringer, where are you at? There you are. I see you.
What's up, guys? Hey, we're kicking off our mackerel season here in the Northeast region. I'm glad we're talking about it. People are catching some big ones, and a lot of them at that. It's only going to get better. Kingfish are a major summertime staple for us. And as it starts to heat up over the next few weeks, both in temperature and numbers of kingfish in the region, you can find them right along the beach as well as way offshore, making them a very versatile fish for our anglers. And, when it's hot as Hades outside, as it tends to be over the next few months, you can sometimes get a little reprieve from that heat by trolling for kingfish in the ocean. Now, the bait, namely the pogies, are a key part of our kingfishing here in the region. Getting a live well or maybe even 2 live wells full of pogies is where you're going to want to start if you're going to target kingfish. The pogies have been around for a bit now, right along the beach like usual. It's a good sign. Last year the pogies were a little tough to come by, so we're off to a good start this year. There have been some kingfish offshore the last few weeks and some really good sized ones at that. Most guys are slow trolling out there with pogies, or if you can find them, blue runners, or maybe even some goggle eyes. Now, what tends to be the more popular way of catching kingfish in the region is going to be targeting those fish along the beach. We typically get a good push of kingfish on the beach as we get close to the full moons and the new moons all throughout the summer and even into the early fall months. Now, that's typically when the bigger fish come in shallow to spawn. If you're fishing the beach, you want to typically be in about 30 to 50 feet of water. Try to keep your speed as slow as you can go. Again, pogies are the bait of choice, but slow trolling both live and dead baits, as well as pulling spoons or lures, can be very effective out there. And I got a picture here. Our good buddy, Captain Rob Bennett, he sent me this picture of his client, Dan Viken, with a nice St. Augustine beach caught redfish. Look at the colors on that guy.
Wow, that's a good one.
All right, staying offshore, we've had a late season mahi run in the region the past few weeks. There's been a ton of sargassum weed in the ocean, and the fish are loving that stuff. It does make trolling a little tough at times, but the fish are hanging out a little longer than usual because of it. And you can start looking for weed lines in 140 foot, on out way out to 1,400 foot. Now, ballyhoos, naked or skirted, chuggers, a variety of other small lures. Those are all going to work well out there right now. And there's still some big fish out there. And speaking of big fish, I've got another picture here. Sarah Burke sent me this picture of her giant, almost 50-pound mahi that she caught this past week on the Stay Fly. Sarah said this was their last day to fish in the Northeast Florida Marlin Association tournament. She's hoping that first place fish is going to hold. I cannot imagine somebody catching a bigger one than that. That is awesome, Sarah. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Tell me about the tarpon, Tommy.
Wow.
Yeah, man, the tarpon have started showing better numbers this week throughout the region. The bigger fish are showing up along the beaches and the pogie pods, as well as in the inlets and by the bridges. The bridges in St. Augustine, especially at night, are holding some big tarpon right now. Big swim baits like that Berkeley cull shad, they're working really well when tossed up current where the fish are hanging out. Big mullet or pogie is also going to work well for those bridge fish. Now, the beach tarpon have been a little hit or miss, but at first light and then right after the afternoon thunderstorms have been the best bite for those beach tarpon. Look for busting or rolling fish. And again, toss a big swim bait or a live pogie or a live mullet to those beach fish. Now, staying inshore, it's a great weekend to get out of the crack of dawn, catch the low tide for the redfish in the backcountry. The redfish are busting small shrimp and minnows in the in the super skinny stuff right now on that early morning low tide. My clients, we've been tossing that Gulp Nemesis prawn rigged on a weedless hook to those shallow water reds. Just lead those fish by a few feet, cast it as far past them as possible, get it right back in front of them. You really just need to get it there. With that lure, they're usually going to pick it up because of the scent, but sometimes a little hop will do the trick and get the bite. Now, the water's been very murky with the recent rains we've had, so if you're going with live bait, cut mullet or cut crab's been working great. And I got one last picture here. This is Avon with a nice redfish that he caught with me last week on a cut piece of crab. I knew Avon was super cool when I met him because he has the same unique name as my 13-year-old daughter, who would say, bro, that name is bussin'. Right, Bree?
We love it.
That is a good name. I was like, Avon, what? Who's that? That's not her. Good job. That was
All right,
great.
Tommy, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Northeast region. Tommy says inshore, redfish along the edges of the ICW and in the back of the creeks on the early morning low tide. Look for busting and backing fish and toss a Berkeley Gulp Nemesis prawn out in front of them. Offshore, a mixed bag of tunas, mahis, and mackerels. Look for the weed lines, especially for the mahis starting in 140 feet of water.
Rick, that mahi still has my jaw on the floor.
Wow.
Are you kidding me? That was
Giant.
beautiful, giant. All right, from the flats to the offshore reefs, Florida's fisheries need our help. And one simple way to support them is with the Conserve Florida's Fisheries license plate. Your $25 helps fund clean water initiatives, habitat restoration, and marine conservation projects statewide. Learn more at redfishtag.com and get it at the DMV. All right, from big trout in the northern part of the region to improving snook action down south, the Phillips Southwest region has plenty to talk about, so get ready for the Ronnie coming up next.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala. Fenwick, feel everything. Phillips, building the infrastructure that safeguards our future. Sportsman's Adventures with Captain Rick Murphy, fishing for adventure. Berkeley Prospect Chrome. And Taco Marine, driven by people, focused on you.
We are getting ready for the salsa in Mexico for your birthday. From first-time offshore anglers to seasoned veterans, Kingfish have a way of appealing to just about everyone who loves to fish. So let's see what our weekend holds with Ronnie Houston in the Phillips Southwest region. What's going on, Ronnie?
Well, in the Phillips Southwest region, when it comes to the kingfish, here's some tips that I can offer you to get started targeting these fish on nearshore artificial reefs, wrecks, and coastal passes in depths of about 30 to 50 feet of water where bait congregates. Now, slow trolling in some of these areas from 1 to 4 knots. So whatever you're using, make sure it's swimming naturally. For live baits, blue runners, herring, use them on stinger rigs. I strongly recommend number 4 and number 7 wire with a live bait nose hook with 1 or 2 treble stinger hooks. Trolling lures, silver spoons, or deep diving lift plugs. To draw them to the boat, chumming also helps using a heavy chum bag with ground sardines or man-hate. Create an oil slick to draw them closer to the boat. And the best time of year to catch them is in the migration period. That's March through May, and fall, September through November. And here's an average size kingfish caught the depths I just mentioned.
There you go. All right, what else you got offshore, Ronnie?
So the red groupers, I'm getting mixed reports on depths right now. So 90 to 120 feet has been producing some quality fish as numbers. But other reports, due to the water temps now getting hotter, quality numbers are starting at about 75 feet. So you got two options. Areas of hard bottom and ledges, live pinfish, grunts, cigar minnows, cut baits, your squid, your herring, sardines, also tip bugtails, 50 to 80 pound leaders, 6 to 10 ounces of weight depending upon the current. If the tide is moving, just about anything drop down will work, but slow current or no current, live baits get the job done. And here's a nice red grouper recently caught while fishing with Davis Olson out of Naples.
Wow, that's a nice one. All right, let's go inshore, bub.
So the trout bite is out of control up in the northern end of the region right now. Bull Bay, Turtle Bay, Pine Island Sound, especially with the abundance of grass and potholes. Now, if the tide is really low and the outer bar that runs along the coast is exposed, these fish will drop off into about 2 to 5 feet of water until the tide comes back in. Baits right now are going to be the Bass Assassin noise-making corks with slamming chicken, paddle tails. You can use the Berkeley Gulf shrimps, dragon tails in the deeper water, bouncing the bottom, 8 to 4-ounce jig heads. And in the shallow water, your Berkeley Jaywalkers, 90s and 120s. Right now, the hot colors are filtered or chrome. Plenty of fish to be caught. And this week's picture is a fan of the show, is nicknamed Thunder. Thunder could never catch trout up in the northern end. He simply used a noise-making cork, and now the guy can't stop catching trout.
That's awesome. Tell me about the snooks.
The bite's improving for the snook in the southern end of the region on the outside Gulf along points and shorelines. Now, if we can get away from these strong west winds, which we're going to get easterly winds towards the weekend, I am starting to see more fish group up in areas where there's some oversized fish. I presume they're getting ready to be grouped up for the spawn. Now, mid-tides have been best before the water gets too high, and then catching them on the fall. Baits, plenty of them, live pinfish, pilchards, cut baits due to hot water temps. Artificials, 1/2 ounce to 3/4 ounce gold spoons. Your Berkeley Jaywalkers and drift walkers right now in mullet or pilchard colors due to the clean water. Or your Bass Assassin 5-inch dye dapper with the clean water. Houdini's the color on quarter to 1/2 ounce jig heads to slowly reel and let the tail wobble. And I've got a picture of a fish just caught up in Pine Island Sound, little bow walker using live pinfish.
So, Ronnie, I got a question for you. So, we've had these afternoon thunderstorms now for about the last week. And, we're talking about real rain. So, what do you think that's going to do to the coastline in your region?
Well, what I really think is going to happen is hopefully we start getting this watercolor change due to the rains. If you notice from Chokoloskee all the way up to the Broad, the water's clean. If you go a little further to the down towards you, the water's changing because the water flow is a little bit different. So I think it's going to help the bite. It's going to cool the water down a little bit. It's going to start drawing in some fry bait. And with the spawn coming, I think the fishing's going to be good once that water changes for the snooks.
So does that fresh water affect the northern part of your region up there in Punta Gorda?
Yeah, it will affect the northern part of the region. And you know what I like about that this time of year? When you start getting those rains, the guy looking to go out and use fly rods can catch plenty of tarpon, west wall, east wall, actually all through the sound in the harbor. Once that water starts coming down the Peace and the Caloosahatchee River, your juvenile tarpon bite's going to get on fire.
All right, Ronnie, thank you so much. It's time for the Punta Gorda Inglewood Beach hotspots from the southwest region. Ronnie says inshore, redfish, Bull Bay, Turtle Bay, the west wall on higher tides along the mangroves using live pilchards, pinfish, and cut bait. And then if you want to go offshore, red snappers in 160 feet and beyond. Fish raised bait piles and using live baits. Guess what? Cut bait and vertical slow pitch jigs is going to get her done for them snappers.
Get her done. All right, up next, we're diving into Seize the Social. And next week, get ready for a show filled with big smiles, first catches, and memories that last a lifetime. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Get ready to cast off into the world of adventure with our exclusive line of fishing shirts and hats, inspired by your favorite fishing shows. Designed for the dedicated angler in you, our high-performance gear is guaranteed to keep you cool and comfortable. Join the ranks of your favorite fishing pros and reel in the excitement. Be an insider, fish like a pro, dress like a legend. Shop your favorite brands of Sportsman's Adventures, Florida and Texas Insider Fishing Reports today at store.rmmedia.com.
Hey fish fans, tell all your fishing buddies that you can now stream your favorite fishing shows anytime with Pursuit Plus. Watch full episodes of Sportsman Adventures, Florida and Texas Insider Fishing Report on demand whenever you want. Whether you're looking for fishing action, reports, tips, or the latest conditions, it's all in one place. Sign up today at PursuitPlusTV.com for just $4.99 with promo code RickPlus and never miss another bite. All right, well, next week, Rick, I hope you enjoy your vacation in Mexico. We're talking kids fishing, and we're going to have a ton of kids in the studio, and it's our favorite show of the year, so make sure to tune into that. But before we get to the festivities, let's check out Seize the Social. Roll it, guys.
Let's check it out.
What do we have here? We have a cast net. That just takes my breath away.
You ever seen a 25-foot cast net? 20, that's 20 plus.
That's insane to me. Look at that pancake. It's so round. Speaking of what?
If AB threw a cast net that big,
yeah,
we would lose all the bait fish in Biscayne Bay in one throw.
We would. Speaking of pancake, we have a cake because it is your birthday.
It is my birthday.
Happy birthday. Hold on, here we go. To you, happy birthday.
Strobe lights.
Yeah, you got strobe lights, you got regular lights. Make a wish. Please make a wish. I hope all your wishes come true this year.
Me too.
Me three. And I hope you have a great time in Mexico filming. Yay. It's going to be so much fun.
Thank you.
We love celebrating you. So tell me, what is one thing that you would tell your 25-year-old self real quick?
My 25-year-old
Your 25-year-old self, what would you tell that person, that young kid?
I would say maybe slow down a little bit and enjoy it while it's happening, because you're not young for very long.
That's so true.
It
it's
is.
going fast.
Yeah.
It's going fast. And
It
guess
sure
what?
is.
You have Riley to celebrate with. You've got your
know.
beautiful family to celebrate with.
Riley may
you really
make
have
an
it all.
appearance next week
I
on the
sure
Kids
hope
Show.
so.
But that's why I got to go to Mexico and have a vacation.
Cheers.
And these daiquiri decks, we can
Happy
get it
birthday.
started right now.
See y'all next week. Get ready for the chaos and the kids.
Come see me.